So now the last review is going to be Scream. The 30th anniversary Scream. Yes, the 1996 horror film directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson, starring Neve Campbell, David Arquette, and Courteney Cox, Lillard, and Skeet Ulrich as the cast of this first entry of the long-running classic, meta slasher film series. So yeah, love Scream. As you know, I love Scream since the new rebooted one from 2022. Made a lot of content to it, so you can check that out. So yeah, 30 years, crazy. And I did start right about. Scream didn't just revive the slasher genre in the mid-90s. It redefined it. At the time when the horror felt stale and self-pity as accidental in the 90s, right? Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson delivered a film that was self-aware without being smug, scary without being disrespectful, and smart enough to change the rules while still playing by them. Rare thing for a horror film to do. But also a rare horror film that understands its audience, and then it uses that knowledge against them. What made Scream successful is that it was a never, I say, pretentious or whatever. It's displayed the sense of ironic self-awareness well. It took every horror cliche in the book and turned them upside down. For the kids that had seen too many horror scary movies, there was a film for them. And for me, the characters didn't follow the cliches, but in fact talked about them and talked about what could happen if they were in a movie. That was cool. This sense is, this sense of irony may seem tired now because we got a lot of parodies and all that imitators of this film after the release. But when Scream came out in 1986, we didn't have that. It was new and exciting. There was rarely a thing to scream, don't go upstairs, or just like scream because the characters themselves were saying that. The idea of the killer being among the students is a fresh dimension to the film. Something that is fresh and dimension to the film franchise is that we get a new killer. It's not a singular character like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, or Freddy Krueger, to name a few. We always get a different Scream villain with a different motive surrounding around Cindy, of course, except for the Carpenter sisters and the newer films 5 and 6. That this 6, the horrors of Angelo in the different times that the sequels are released, and it's really refreshing because as fears gives way to paranormal and not being able to trust anyone, the subversions of accepted horror cliches, in particular in the opening 10 minutes, not to give away anyway what happened in the opening, but it's really shocking because I didn't expect how the opening does, and it just grounds the film, and it's like not every character is safe. So it's spectacular. It was the sense of evolution that made Scream such a breath of fresh air, I have to say, for the horror genre. So it is only a shame that Craven's genius has been rebuffed so many times that his work has dated far too quickly. That's been the judge of that for you guys, but I don't think so. I think Scream has aged pretty well. I mean, you have to understand it's from the 90s, so that's really it. But I give credit that Craven and Kevin Williams, have also created a new horror story with Ghostface. But it's not a particular character, but it's just a mask and an iconic mask, which is really cool. And it helps to know who done it sooner with this particular costume. The Scream mask has become just symbolic and perhaps even more so than that of a Michael Myers or James Foley's. So, yeah. So let's get into the characters' performances. It's so spectacular. I mean, Neve Campbell's Sidney Prescott is one of the horror's most enduring final girls for a reason, because she's reactive, vulnerable, involving, and relatable. She's not instantly fearless, but she earns her survival, which is good. And then you get the supporting characters like Courteney Cox. Gail Weathers brings a bite and ambitions, while David Arquette's Dewey provides the unexpected heart and humor, which is really great. Then you got the villains, that's spoiled. So I mean, you guys know who's the villains. I mean, Skeet Ulrich and Flares are the gold face of this film, first entry, and the performances are crucial to the film's success, and they fully embrace the heightened tone without tipping the mystery too early. Their energy fuels the film's unpredictably, which is really true. Then you get into the writing, because I haven't mentioned the writing here, but like this is important. Writing is such an important thing for the film, and especially this kind of Sandra. I think Kevin Williamson did such a good job of the writing of Scream. I mean, the meta horror writing here is top notch. Kevin Williamson's script is the film's secret weapon. The rules of the horror aren't just a clever dialogue; they become the narrative tools. The film openly acknowledges the cliches while still delivering the genuine, tense, and effective scares. The opening sequence alone with Drew Barrymore remains one of the greatest cold openings in horror history, I have to say. Still, I mean, despite some good ones in the Scream series, I mean, this one cannot be topped, unfortunately. It's just so grounded. I mean, real, like it feels real, like a Snap, or like one of those like crime shows, about crimes. Is shocking and efficient and immediately establishing that no one's safe, as I say early in the review. And then let's get into the late great Wes Craven, the direction and tone. Wes Craven's direction is confident and precise. Again, using that word again for a director I love. He balanced the humor and terror without undercutting either at the same time, allowing the film to be funny and frank, And that's something that horror films always struggle with this. But Wes Craven knows how to balance this, and you can see that with the first Nightmare on Elm Street and then the first Scream here. The Ghostface Killer is both absurd but terrifying. The slasher film who feels human, clumsy, and dangerously unpredictable. Then the themes. Just looking at the themes. At its core, Scream is really about the being sensational, the violence as entertainment, the danger of the detachment of reality is well illustrated in the film, especially the time of the 90s. This was hit home, with how the media was just talking and just showing the crimes that were committed during that time, and of course it critiques the horror culture while clearly loving it. It's really good, and it balanced where many of the interiors failed to really replicate, and that's something that Screams is really good at. And just I mentioned briefly, the legacy and impact this film has. I mean, Scream is single-handedly launched a new era of horror in the late 90s. I know what you did last summer, the revival of Halloween, urban legend, and all that. It really revived the horror genre afterwards, and still you feel the effects of it still to the day, and creating a franchise that has remained culturally relevant for this decades. I mean, 6 sequels, and the 30th anniversary is coming out this year, but also a new film coming out this month, the 7th film, where we get back Sidney Prescott as the lead. Not gonna talk about the crazy production troubles of Scream, but we're getting her back, and getting a new installment this year towards the end of February, which is great. It can still be felt in a modern meta horror and the genre's savvy storytelling to this day, so it's great. Weakness in nitpicks. Just like Terrier 2, I mean, some of the late 90s aesthetics are dated to this film slightly. The dialogue and stuff like that, but I kind of expected with these films from the 90s. You could tell they're part of that, that decade. And then the red herrings. We watched the film many times, and especially reviewing I think I reviewed the first movie 2 years ago with the Middleman reviews, funny enough, and I was kind of surprised that the few supporting characters exist mainly as red herrings, but that's the nature of who's done it, like mystery genre, the structure, and so I cannot really blame them for that. So, but it's still a good mystery, from this first Addy. Okay, overall, Scream is a short and scary and endless watchable slasher film. It's a slasher that knows its rules, breaks them, and dares you to keep up. And it's the genre-defining classic that proves the horror could be smart and self-aware and still terrifying at the same time. And that, I highly recommend everyone to watch this film. Happy 30th anniversary, Scream. Love you. Very excited for the 7th installment, as I said before. one of the most consistent horror slasher films. I mean, few come close to Scream in terms of quality and consistency and continuity, of course. But yeah, so the rating for this film, I'll give this a 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic film, love it. Go see the films for the 30th anniversary, and plus the new installment that's coming out in February 27 of 2026, later this month. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining this awesome Andres Pop Culture Guide Retrospective Slash Review pod for all four films, all four radar films, I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is going to be a new format for the retrospective reviews where I'm going to review all of, I don't know how many, but like all in once in one pod, and then I'll release them and separate them as individual reviews later down in the month or so. Either co-starring the upcoming live stream reviews I say before, or or my involvement of any pods or collaboration I do with any YouTubers. I have done like the Minute Review or Luke from the Franchise Addict. You're gonna expect them as in the channel immediately in the month to celebrate these films. So that's all I have to say. Thank you, everyone. I'll have more retrospective down the line. Hopefully you enjoyed this 4 awesome reviews of classic movies in cinema from different soundtracks. This is probably my favorite I have done so far. This is pretty cool collective of movies that I had review, and they're the best. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Love you. And ciao. Bye bye.